Video 6 on fitness with Gerry. We're doing some stretching. It will be for the legs, the back, and a little bit of upper body. Specifically, the SI joint, also known as the sacroiliac joint. It's at the base of the spine, connects the spine to the pelvis. Possibly the most important joint in the body because it's connecting a very important part, which is your spine, to another very important part, your pelvis, and it's in the middle of your body. Many people, almost everyone, is going to have some kind of imbalance in this SI joint. Many people who have lower back problems, probably one of the root causes. And another important connection is at the side of the leg, called the IT band, which stands for Iliotibial band. It connects at the pelvis and goes all the way on the outside of the leg to connect past the knee on one of these two bones called the tibia. Really important to do this stretch at least once a week or twice a week, and hold it for at least 3 minutes. Many times I'll do about a 15 or a 20-minute stretch in this position, but changing things up a little bit, which I'll show you as we start. So I have the crisscross again with my mats just to give you different angles. It's important that you have enough of a cushion to protect the ankles. So I will usually use this. If I don't have extra cushion, then I will double up my yoga mat. I don't know if you can see that. I just pulled the end over. So now I have 2-layer thickness of yoga mat that I would use if I didn't have this cushion. So the starting position, put your legs straight and then bend them outwards, and you'll need some kind of support for the knee. So you see how my knees are floating above, and position the pillow that it does give the cushion for your ankles. If my knees are hovering, it means the muscles are working and don't get to relax. Very important with stretching, as we'll review in these stretching sessions, that the muscles get to relax while they're being stretched. So I put a yoga block on each side, on each knee to support my knee. Everybody's different. Some people might be more comfortable with a lower yoga block. If you don't have the yoga block, you can also use cushions, sofa cushions, or folded up towels. So this is how I start, and I did this one earlier this morning. And speaking of which, I wanted to mention also, the body's different when you first wake up compared to at the end of your day. You'll be a lot more flexible at the end of the day compared to in the morning when you've just woken up and your body has been lying horizontal. If you have a regular schedule of going to bed at night and waking up in the morning, I say that because many people have shifts which don't allow that kind of sleeping pattern. When you first wake up, your body will be a bit more stiff. So what I like to do, I like to start off nice and gentle, and I will rest my head right here, and sometimes moving my head back and forth, a little bit of massage on the forehead, and I'll stay here for 2 or 3 minutes, and then I will also put my chin on this support. And my arms can be in many different places. One place I like is right here on the outside of my knees, because I get a nice gentle stretch between my shoulder blades. Now this I didn't yet introduce in this video. It's a foam roller about half the size of a regular sized foam roller. If you don't have this, you can use a chair which is at the right height. Just protect your yoga mat if the legs of the chair are metal and would damage the yoga mat. Or you can use a dense pillow to rest your head on. So the arms can be outside the knees. Sometimes I'll be here at the feet. Sometimes I'll be behind my back with my fingers interlaced together. And you can also bring the arms up and get a nice chest and front shoulder stretch. Palms facing together. But it's also nice to have the wrists rotated and the palms facing outwards. So that's the first series I'll do, especially if it's first thing in the morning. And then I'll come back, put my hands behind my back, and just lifting up my hips and lifting up my knees a little bit. And I can also let my head come back, resting on my shoulders, opening up my throat. Now this part, it's important to return the muscles that you're stretching into some kind of stability, because any kind of stretching that you do will create a small instability in the muscles because they're being stretched past their normal resting phase. Okay, showing you from this angle now might be a little bit different for you for the learning process. So my legs are straight. I have the extra cushion for my ankles. I bend my knees just barely. Put the support under my knees. And the first part, I would rest my head on some kind of support. That is a very easy stretch. Okay, now the second time through, I can usually go a little bit deeper into the stretch. Sometimes I'll use the foam roller. Sometimes I can rest my elbows on the yoga blocks and cradle my head in my hands. Sometimes I have my fingers up here in this part of the eye socket, an acupressure point. I can also put the other fingers on the suture point of the skull. Many times there's a little bit of stress right here. I can do a bit of massage. Or I can use another support and just come down and resting my forehead on the support. I can put my arms here. Or as before, alongside the knee, giving a nice opening up between the shoulder blades. And also, as we did before, behind the back with the arms. Another good one I like to do is putting my hands on the lower part of my knee and just rotating the shoulder and the elbow. Gets a nice stretch still again in the upper back, but also I'm feeling the shoulder blade and a little bit of the ribs. Opening up space between the ribs. And then I'll lift back up after 3 or 5 minutes being down in this position. And I'll do the similar one that we did after the first part. Lifting up my hips and letting my head come back. What I didn't mention was when you're lifting up the hips and the knees, you're engaging, you're using those muscles that you just stretched, which will help return them to a bit more stability after having been stretched. So that's what I would do second time around, then usually one more time, because now I can go a little bit deeper still, and sometimes I can get all the way to the ground. I have my hands cradling my forehead, and I have the thumb on one side, one skull suture, and the pinky finger on the other side, another skull connection. And I can just massage or just stay here. And also my forehead can usually come to the ground. Another fun position when I'm flexible and stretched is I'll put my hands underneath my shins and then use my hands and fingers to support my head. So altogether about 15 or 20 minutes with that stretch, and the final part is always trying to balance because in this position my hips are in external rotation. So now I want to bring them into what's known as internal rotation. So I have my foot alongside my butt, and the bottom of my leg is alongside the top part of my leg. And be careful if the knee is hovering, suspended, put something to support it. Also with this knee. So for me, this knee is on the ground, but this knee is up. So I just put the yoga block right here for the knee that's off the ground. And then also, yeah, many people, your butt cheek will not be on the ground. So you want to support with something so that you're connected on the ground and you're not going to put unwanted stress on the knee ligament or the hip ligament. And then I would just stay here for a couple of minutes on each side, just rotating the hips a little bit. And you would want to balance that out, doing the same thing with the other leg. You might find that each side of your body is different. That's normal. It can depend on many factors. Okay, that was the second time that the camera decided to stop working, but we got almost everything done. What I started to say before the camera stopped this second time is that many people are going to have imbalances in their body. Could be lifestyle patterns, could be, for example, many people carry a bag on one shoulder, whether it be a purse or your backpack or something, and that'll cause one shoulder to be higher than the other shoulder, as this shoulder is more accustomed to holding that bag. So in part of the process of this kind of stretching is you discover these imbalances that you're creating. And you can also try and correct the imbalance. One thing I wanted to say but kept forgetting is when you're stretching, it's important to be warm and relaxed. But the warm part, you can see I'm dressed fairly warm. It was raining all day today, and it just stopped a little while ago, so it's kind of chilly. I don't need this many clothes on, but it's always nice to have the muscles warm. They are much more flexible and much more prepared to be stretched. And one final bonus, I want to show you a very common mistake that I see almost everyone doing. I don't know why everyone has learned the wrong way to do this. It's just the way it is. So this stretch here, sometimes known as the butterfly stretch. This is what everyone knows, but this is damaging. The muscles I am trying to stretch are on the inside of the leg, but these muscles cannot stretch because they are working to hold up the legs in this suspended position. So what needs to happen is, as we did earlier, the knees need to be supported. Huge difference. Now the weight of my legs are supported. these muscles are no longer working, so now they can stretch. And you can also use, as before, a cushion if you have a big enough book or a piece of wood or a folded up towel. Something that supports the knee so that your legs are not suspended in the air. So that was the bonus for today, and I am going to end this video again repeating once or twice a week. Take your time with it, and you'll discover new things as you continue on this journey of stretching. Thank you for watching.